Welcome back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Sylvester Inspires Beliefcast. Thank you once again for joining us. I'm so excited once again to be on today and have a very special guest, Carrie Johnson. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, again, we're bright and early here at Wasatch Recovery, and she was willing to come in early, so thank you for doing that.
No problem.
I want to thank our sponsor again, Veracity Networks. Thanks for believing in me. And again, all you listeners for just your support. It's been so wonderful. And, you know, with the guests we've had on before, you guys have shared it with so many people and commented. And I hope that these amazing stories will inspire all of us to know that we're in this together and that we all have our trials and we all have our struggles. But when we can all connect through this, it truly is a blessing. So thank you so much for everything. Carrie Johnson, she has a blog, and what's the title of your blog again?
Joy Cometh in the Morning, and morning is spelled Mourning.
Yes, thank you. And that's where she talks about how without pain there is no joy, and she's been through a lot. And she's married. She has a daughter who also just got married. Mm-hmm. You know, when she was younger, she had lost her brother. She's been through severe depression. She was in a very serious car accident about 4 years ago, which she'll talk about here in a minute. She just wants to make the world a better place. She has a big heart, and she just wants to make an impact. And that's one of the main reasons why I wanted you on this Belief Cast as well, because, you know, you do have a really kind of heart-wrenching story, but your attitude and your strength in moving forward is very inspiring.
Thank you.
You bet. So thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about where you grew up and a little bit about your family?
Oh, I love my family.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in southern Utah, and I have such good memories of growing up. I just always thought we were the funniest family.
Uh-huh.
I loved being with my family. Now I know the Cosby Show has kind of negative connotations nowadays, but I just would sit around the dinner table and think, we should be filmed, like when I was just little, because that's kind of and I need to apologize because I'm not getting a word to come out of my mouth right now because I have a traumatic brain injury. Sometimes my thoughts don't connect to my mouth.
Right.
But I just always thought, we are so funny. We need to be filmed because we just were comical.
Right.
And I just thought we were so entertaining. So I just loved being with my family.
Right. So how many siblings did you have?
I have 4 siblings.
4 siblings.
And that includes my brother that passed away.
Okay. And where did you fall in the pecking order?
I'm the baby.
You're the baby. Okay.
Yes.
How'd you like being the baby?
I loved it. I mean, and I'm sure most babies say that.
Right.
But I was treated really well.
Yeah. The other kids break in the parents, right? And usually the baby's like, okay, I got the more relaxed, more refined parent.
I did.
Right?
I for sure did. I'm sure they will all tell you I was spoiled. But yeah.
Yeah. So growing up, you know, you had lost your brother Matt, correct? Brad, excuse me.
His best friend was Matt. So
okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
At least we put that there.
Yeah.
So Brad passed away. Can you kind of describe that and kind of what you went through as a family?
Yeah. So he was serving a mission for our church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And he had been out about 4 months, and he was in Italy. And we got a call one day that he had leukemia, and he had less than a 5% chance to live.
So they discovered that on his mission.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was acute leukemia, so he had just got it, and he thought he had chicken pox.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just blood seeping through the pores, and he gets this little petechiae with leukemia, and he thought it was chicken pox, and they make these little scabs, but he'd already had chicken pox 2 times, and that's just a 19-year-old boy for you. And he just didn't really know what it was, and he was on the island of Sardinia, and there weren't a lot of doctors where he was, and anyway, just miracle after miracle. And the church flew my parents over, really just thinking by the time they got there, they'd be picking up a body. And
really? Wow.
yeah, and
so is that fast?
Well, he lived
Oh, okay.
the first time around, and then he just had a fighting spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And he came home, and I remember one time he was so sick after a treatment, and he got treatment there in Italy, and then he was well enough to come home, and but he would still had to be treated here too, and until he went into remission, and then he went back to Dallas, and then he was there 2 months. It came back, and then he lived another 2 months here, and then he passed away.
Wow.
But he taught me so much. Like, he just, one time he was so sick after a treatment, and my mom had gone up to get him some anti-nausea medicine at the pharmacy, and he just started to throw up, and he had a pan that he was going to throw up in, and my mom always held our head when we threw up.
Yeah.
And so I ran over to help him throw up, and I was 13 years old, and I just started crying.
Yeah.
So hard. And after he was done throwing up, he wiped his mouth and he said, "Don't cry." He said, "I'm not crying. It's okay." And he just explained, "I've accepted this.
Wow.
You don't need to cry." Wow. And he wasn't telling me never cry. He was just that I couldn't have emotions. But, that was just his attitude was, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm happy about this.
Wow.
We can be happy.
Yeah.
And he just was always happy. He wasn't faking it.
Yeah.
And he was just fabulous that way.
Yeah, what a perspective to have that as he's going through this, knowing that, he's going to be possibly passing away soon.
Yeah.
And to have that perspective and to be able to tell his youngest sibling, hey, it's okay.
Yeah, we don't need to be sad.
Wow. How powerful. So you were 14 when he passed?
When he passed away.
Yeah. Kind of describe that, like what you went through. Obviously, what an amazing example he was by just what you said there. I'm sure there was other experiences around that as well. So was he that way with everyone, with his everyone in the family? And
oh yes, he was incredible. He always put other people first, always. So he ran for student body president, and he did back then they were doing videos, and I don't know exactly if they still do that, but and they did some videos and for their final speeches, and he was helping everybody with their videos, and his was last. He just knew this was in 1989, and 1990 was the year he graduated, and he knew about electronics, and this was there was no digital anything.
Right.
So everybody kept bringing him their videos, and he was really good at this stuff, adding sound, and he had this big plan. And what he was going to do for his. And it was about 10 o'clock, and he was finally getting to his, and there was a knock at the door, and it was his opponent.
Oh, really?
And my mom was like, "Was that so-and-so?" And it was. And Brad came upstairs, and he's like, "Come on down." And he edited that person's video.
Oh, wow.
And his own video suffered because of it.
Like
and he lost by a handful of votes.
Right. So he put that person first.
Yes.
So just kind of the guy he was, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, and he was always happy and always putting other people first. And
yeah, wow.
Yeah, he was incredible.
How did your family as a whole handle losing Brad?
Some better than others.
Yeah.
it took its toll on some.
Sure.
But I took to heart what my brother said, and it's not that I didn't miss him, but I've always felt that he's remained really close to me.
Yeah. Well, it's almost, I got the feeling of, that even that experience, even though it was maybe something you didn't want to go through, when he was throwing up and you were helping him in that moment, and he looks at you and says, hey, don't cry.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I mean, what a sacred moment for you to have that experience with him.
Yeah.
Kind of set the tone for you, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you were 14, very tough, obviously, at that time. As you move forward in life, we were talking about how you've been through some severe depression in your life, and
yeah, I was actually diagnosed bipolar.
Okay, and how old were you when that happened, or when that diagnosis?
I was 21.
21. Okay.
I had just given birth. It was 6 months after that.
Okay, so obviously up before that, though, I would imagine you were struggling.
I wasn't.
Oh, you weren't at all until
No.
that point? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, describe that.
That was really hard because I remember my mom called me on the phone, and 6 months after, and I didn't even recognize it in myself. So she calls me, and I mean, looking back, I can see that the baby had not my daughter. I've not ever blamed it on my daughter.
Right.
Creating a child changed me drastically.
Right.
And so, and I never really understood this part of it, but when a woman's body creates a child, it takes chemically a little bit of your kidneys to create a kidneys for a baby, and a little bit of the liver chemically to create. So it borrows a little bit of everything.
Okay.
To create this little child. And and this is how the doctor described it to me when I went to see a psychiatrist. So anyway, my mom called me one day and said, we just had a normal chat. I talked to my mom every single day back then. I mean, I still do now, but
right.
She just called me and we had a normal chat. And then she said, Carrie, I think you have depression. And I lost it on her. And I even said, I don't think I do.
Right.
I was like, I was the one who handled Brad's, death. I was the one who did this. I am strong. I am a strong person. I don't have depression. And I hung up the phone back when you could hang up a phone, slammed it down on a receiver. And I was like, I am fine. And then my husband came home from work and I was like, can you believe? And he's like, look at our house. He started pointing out the evidence of what I used to be compared to now at that time. And yeah, it was a disaster. And he's like, you're sleeping all the time. And I'm like, I'm sleeping when the baby sleeps. It's just.
Yeah. So just really on edge, not being the normal Carrie that people had noticed before.
And there were times I could chemically feel it. Like it was such a switch of being so happy and then just falling to so sad. And so we went to see a doctor, and I went in by myself. I'd handed off the baby to my mom and my husband, and he asked me a series of questions, and he diagnosed me as bipolar after all these questions, and also with PTSD because of a relationship I had with anyway, well, that's all I'll say.
Okay.
And who knows who's listening. And a very hurtful relationship, and then
a relationship outside of your marriage.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. And you don't have to go into, obviously we're not here to expose anything or whatever, but obviously whatever that was,
yes.
very, very trying and difficult what you went through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And it was former. It was no longer in my life.
Right.
And anyway, I can't remember what I was saying. Okay, in the doctor's office. So, and now I have this cute little baby on my lap, and that's when he started to explain chemically, this is how you make a baby. And he said, I think you gave every ounce of serotonin to this baby.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, what a beautiful sacrifice. But if this is how your body reacts to making a baby, it's only going to get worse with every baby.
Mm.
Your body has a pattern. And he said, I would suggest you don't have any more. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm going to multiply and replenish the earth by myself. Like, me, this was my family's, my husband and I's plan. Like we wanted a lot of children.
Yeah.
But how I felt, like I just knew when he said that was right.
Right.
Because I needed to be here for my daughter.
Yeah. You could feel that was the right answer, even though you didn't want to hear that.
No, like I knew that if my destiny was to be a mother, that's what I always wanted to be. But I already had one, and she needed a mother.
Yeah.
Even more than I needed to be a mother of many. That it would be selfish. Sorry.
It's okay.
For me.
Yeah.
To keep having more and not be able to provide a mother to the one I already had. Because of the way I already was feeling and sleeping, and I didn't want her to continue to have that the rest of her life.
Sure.
So, or not even be here at all. Because I was already having suicidal thoughts, and now that my mom had made me realize how I really was thinking, and I was like, this is a problem.
Yeah.
So, and as he was telling me these things, he gave me there were things I needed to do in my life, and I needed to move because we happened to be in an area by this person, a former relationship.
Right.
And anyway, there were lots of things we just needed to do.
Right.
And I was so gung-ho. I just accepted it and just was like, I'm going to get better. Unfortunately, I didn't get better for a long time.
For a while, yeah.
Oh, a long time. With that particular doctor, I did not see any improvement for 4 years or 4 or 5 years with him.
Yeah, and still feeling depressed through this whole time and struggling, probably still having some suicidal thoughts.
Oh, yes, I'd been hospitalized 3 times with him.
Wow.
And lots of attempts.
Right.
And it was just hard. And so finally I just told my mom and my husband, my mom was my biggest champion. Like, just, you can do this. Like, she was such a cheerleader. And I just told her he finally wanted to do shock therapy. And I was like, I cannot do that.
Yeah.
Because of the people that I had seen there who had done that. And every time I drove up to see this doctor, these same people were walking the grounds. And I was like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I want to remember my daughter.
Sure.
Their children would come and I'd be like, watching, who are you? I just thought, I can't do this.
Yeah.
So anyway, I found a new doctor, and that doctor changed my life. Like, he was so sweet, and he did the psychiatry and the psychology part of it.
Right.
He did
Make
the
sure
therapy.
It's down just a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. There
Okay.
we go. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
He did both the therapy and the medication. So we'd go in and do 15 minutes worth of medication, and then we'd talk for 45. And
okay.
He was so sweet. And then after about a year, I still wasn't really getting my meds balanced and everything. And then one night I hit a person with my car, which it was about 2:00 in the morning, and my daughter was sick, and I drove her to the hospital. And all of a sudden there was a face on my window, and this man had been wrapped in a black blanket and walked across the street, and I wasn't ticketed, and it was entirely his fault, and but I still, the anxiety in me was horrible, and I went to see my doctor, and I was out of control. And I just was like, what if I go to jail and this family says they're going to sue me and all of these things? And, what if they take me to jail for manslaughter? And my head was just spinning. And, we had never, he knew what my religion was and everything. And he was also a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And he just said, who cares? Who cares? Like, I don't even feel sorry for you. And I think he knew after our relationship, and he knew where he could take me. Mm-hmm. I don't think he would have ever talked to just anybody like that. But he said, what really, if they sue you, what really could they take? And he knew where I lived, and
right.
and how old we were at that time. And he said, oh, what does your house cost? $135,000. Mm-hmm. And he goes, and do you really own it? And I'm like, yes, we own our house. Oh, really? Is it paid for, or do you pay the bank? And he goes, do you want to know how much my house is? And what is your car worth?
Yeah.
He goes, what? $500 to $1,000. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes.
So he was just getting really real with you.
Yeah.
It's like, just let's be real about this.
And then he said, and who really, if you really go to jail, or let's say you're in prison your whole life, do you think that really matters to God? You'll still make it. Mm-hmm. He knows it wasn't your fault. He'll still welcome you home. You're still fine. He's like, I'll see you next time. Go make your appointment for this many weeks, and I'll see you. And he just kind of shoved me out of his office. And I just left and got in my car crying, like, that didn't happen at all. And I just totally was, I don't know, that was the best thing he could have done for me.
Yeah.
Because it put everything into an eternal perspective. And I started thinking differently. And it wasn't long after that my meds became balanced. And because I started doing the work.
Right.
I wasn't so reliant on, why aren't my meds working? I started thinking differently. It was like a switch in my brain happened. And
so talk about that a little bit more detail. Like what was the work you were doing? How are you changing the way you were thinking? Because I think that's a very important part. And, a lot of people, there's always a place for medication. And we understand that. Oh, for
sure.
But there's also, we have to put in the work ourselves. And I can relate with that as well in my life. But how important it is to control the way we think, change our belief systems and that kind of thing. So talk a little bit about that work that you had to do.
Well, I started correcting my thoughts. And I started, instead of being like, oh, I'm such a loser and everything like that, I started thinking, it was like there was a bulldozer in my mind. And I would picture things, like picture my thought process. And so I would like picture a scooper, and I would, because I'd done a lot of research, like I wanted to understand my mind, so I would read tons of books.
Right.
I'd read anything I could get a hold of
Yeah.
on bipolar disorder, and there was one about like how we create little like I can't think what the word is, just like
Neural pathways.
yes, neural pathways.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just thinking, I'm making this neural pathway, so I would like picture just like ice cream scoops,
Just digging the pathway.
digging a pathway.
Wow.
Or like a front end loader or something.
Right.
And so I would just think no, and I'd scoop something else, and
Nice.
and so I would create my scoops, and that you have to have three.
Right.
The three good thoughts to cover, the one bad.
The one bad, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I would think, no, I am a good mom, and and I'm a good person, and so I would think things like that to cover that one bad thought.
Yeah.
And so I would start to do something like that. And then right before, probably 3 years before the accident, my other doctor, the doctor that was hard on me for only that one time,
Sure.
he had retired, and I found a new doctor. And that doctor, I'd been stable for quite a few years.
Sure.
He's like, the more he got to know me, we'd been going through some really hard things, and he just called me Pollyanna from the first day he'd ever met me. And he finally said, I don't think, he'd lowered all my medicines without me even realizing it, to the very lowest doses of them. And he said, I think you should be, really having some mood swings, and you're not. And even on these low meds, they shouldn't be controlling what you and your family are going through.
Right.
Do you trust me? And I'm like, of course I trust you, but what are you talking about? And he's like, I want to take you off your meds. I don't know if you were misdiagnosed or what, but I really don't think you're bipolar anymore, which is, I would never say that to anybody.
Right.
But I just thought, thank you to the second doctor, because I thought if he hadn't been a little tough on me, I wouldn't have known how to do this.
Well, yeah, and as I'm looking at your timeline here, that doctor got really real with you and just said, basically, quit whining. You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And then you started putting in this extra work. You were really working on the way you were thinking.
And it was hard.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's tough changing the way we think.
Oh, yeah.
But you put in that work to the point where now this new doctor's like noticing something like, wow, look at this changes. Look at how good you're doing. Let's maybe try this. Let's maybe take you off your meds and see how you do there.
Yeah, and he said, I can put you right back on. If you really start to feel anything, we'll put you right back on.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. So you go through that process, and obviously, and this was before the
car accident.
Because you were in a car accident, which we'll get to here in just a second. But so obviously that was a process you went through, and it was a success at the time, right?
Yes.
Everything was going in a good direction.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You're probably thinking, man, this is wonderful.
Oh yeah. But I remember that day, I cried. Oh, I got in the car and just cried good tears and like the saddest tears, because I was so scared. I mean, and also that was part of my identity, I was.
Well, yeah, you were relying on that. Now all of a sudden it's gone.
Yeah.
Okay, how am I going to handle things?
Yeah.
So I can understand that.
But now
sure.
That's not even on my medical records anymore. I'm not. I still kind of in the back of my mind always, because I think I still tell people I'm bipolar. I have bipolar disorder, because I don't ever want to not think there's something that could trigger that.
Right.
So, like even with the accident, there were many. But
why label yourself something you're not?
Right. But I just never want to not have that mindset that I don't have to, that those, what am I trying to say? So even with the accident, I just know the mind is very powerful.
Sure.
So even with the accident, I would wake up in the morning and my first thought was, I hate my life. And because my pain was so severe.
Yeah.
And so I know that I could have immediately gone back to such a horrible, depressed state.
Sure.
I don't think I would have been the mood swings.
Gotcha.
But I could have been to a point where I could have just hated life.
Yeah, so
depressed.
you were in this really bad car accident here about 4 years ago. Talk about that. No, you're good.
See, I forget I'm not just talking to you.
No, you're fine.
It's
this
not
is
just
good.
me and Todd.
We're just guiding you along here.
Thank you.
So you got in this accident, and obviously talk a little bit about that. You don't have to go into every detail, but just talk about what happened and how challenging that has been for you.
Yeah. So my family and I were in a car accident, and we were hit. We were on a 1-lane highway, and it was a divided highway, and the individual who hit us ran a red light, and then also turned onto our highway, and the engine got pushed up onto my lap, and so luckily my husband and daughter were not injured at all. It wasn't lucky. It was a huge blessing.
Sure, yeah.
Because I could not have recovered knowing they were in a bed as well. So, but I was severely injured. It took an hour to cut me out of the vehicle.
Wow.
So my whole lower leg below the knee was shattered. I had a compound fracture of my femur. My hip was shattered and had to be. They did not put anything artificial in my. Well, there's lots of artificial things, but nothing like a replacement, like a hip replacement or knee replacement. So my knee was the only thing that was left in my leg. It was just floating, and so they were able to reattach that. So I have in my leg, I have 2 rods and a ton of screws and pins. So, and then all my ribs on the right side were totally broken or shattered, and they put these big butterfly metal pin type things in there from 2 through 7, ribs 2 through 7. They were able to put back together.
Yeah.
And then, trying to think, then my clavicle bones were broken, and then my neck and back as well were fractured. My artery was severed, and in my wrist, my ulnar artery. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think so.
Wow. So obviously tons and tons of surgeries and just therapy, physical therapy you had to go through.
Yes.
Yeah, I can imagine how difficult that had to have been.
Yeah, so that was, like I said, that was my first thought every morning on waking up. And I didn't sleep much because of the pain.
Yeah.
My body doesn't respond to pain medicine at all. So,
Jeez.
Yeah. So when the few hours I could sleep, that was a very real thought. I think there's thoughts we create in our mind, and then we kind of then roll with the rest, and we just kind of like, and I don't like my life, and I am a loser, and but that was my first initial thought on waking up was, I hate my life.
Wow.
And so then I didn't do 3, I did 10. I would lay there and keep my eyes closed and say, no, you love your life. I love my life. these are the reasons why I love my life. And I would, because I can hear the birds singing, and Charlie is alive, and that's my daughter. And,
right.
And she is such a good kid. And, and my husband is so good to me. And I would name all of these reasons why my life was so good. And I'm still here.
Yeah.
And I have so much more to do.
Yeah.
So I would just name 10. And this kept happening for months on end. That was my first thought. Oh, I hate my life. Just because of...
But then you'd catch it and say,
no,
you know what?
I don't hate my life.
And then you go to 10 things on top of that. And
because
just continue doing that.
I did not want those new pathways in my brain.
Wow. I love that. Because, part of what I teach my clients is overcoming that negative voice in their head and how to replace it and how to, but it takes work.
It does take work.
And it almost seems like the work's not even working, so to speak. Like you're like, all I have to do is tell myself something good.
Yeah.
But you have to say it enough times to where you really start believing it.
Yeah.
And that a lot of people give up before they get to that point.
Yeah.
Because one, it seems too easy at first.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's all I have to do. But then when you start putting in the work, it's like, wow, this is going to take a minute.
Yeah.
So, but very impressive to hear you say that, because I think a lot of people listening to this can relate with, we have this negative voice in our head. They struggle on some level. But I love how you're like, well, instead of just 3 positives, I'm going to say 10.
Yeah.
And you really upped your game. And I know, when you go through your blog and you're all about, you talk about the trials you've been through, and you're very open with that. And obviously you're being very open today. So thank you for being vulnerable. Talk about, so because of that though, you're able to experience some joy in your life, and not just some, but a lot. Talk about that, the joy that you feel now and that you're going through.
Well, I don't want to appear fake, and I'm sure I do to a lot of people, because I've been very open about my mental illness, and I would tell people, I'm not doing okay, like this is what I'm struggling with now. But I very rarely tell people that I'm in pain all the time, or things like that, simply because when they see me, they'll say, how are you? And I'm really good. I'm so good. I'm doing really great. Yeah. And I've had so many people say, no, you're not, because they know I'm in pain. And I'm like, no, I really am. And it kind of breaks my heart that, and I guess maybe it is to them that I'm being fake, but I've realized if that's what I focus on is my pain, that's all I focus on. That's all I can feel.
Yep. And
so for me, my spirit is happy.
Yeah.
And I have to choose what I focus on.
Sure. I love that.
And so if I only focused on my pain or only thought about my pain, that's all I feel.
Yeah.
And so when people remind me that I'm in pain, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, you're right. I actually am.
Yeah. Well, so I have to focus on.
Yeah. Well, I don't take that as you being fake. I take that as you're doing your best to find the strength and joy and happiness despite going through all this physical pain, emotional pain at times as well.
Mm-hmm.
You bring up something that I teach, again, my clients, and it's one of the most powerful principles on the planet. And it's as simple as this, is what I focus on increases.
Yeah.
So if you're focused on all the negative, sure, that's going to increase, and you're going to feel it, and you're going to look sad and depressed. And versus, no, I'm going to focus on all these great things that I have in my life. And, as you're saying this, I'm thinking, how we always hear gratitude. If you're grateful, you'll feel more grateful. And that's kind of what I hear from you right now, is that you're focused on all these great things that you do have in your life despite the tough time you're going through. So I think it's a great example to me as I hear this. Like, man, what a great way to push through something hard. Because everyone listening, Carrie, to your story right now, they're going through something tough. Everyone.
I understand that.
So, how you said, you got stuff to do and there's stuff you need to do on this planet. This is part of it. You're sharing your story to a bunch of people that need to hear this.
Yeah.
And it's inspiring.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Reading up on your story, I really felt for you before I even met you. And to have you sit here and be vulnerable, it chokes me up. And to see that you're choosing to have a good attitude. You're choosing to work on those thoughts. Like, okay, a negative thought comes in, I'm going to crush it with 10 positive thoughts. I don't know. I admire that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Put in the work, you get a result, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I look back through your story, you go all the way back to when you were with your brother at the pharmacy when he's throwing up and you're helping him trying to get through that. And he's like, don't be sad. What a great lesson he taught you in that very moment. And maybe that's what fueled all of this.
Yeah.
Because you were 14, this young mind that maybe didn't fully understand. And you're looking at, man, look at my brother. He's going to probably pass away. But look how positive. It's almost, but here you are going through all this and look how positive.
Thank you.
What a gift that Brad gave you back then.
To even compare me to him. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
He's incredible. Oh my gosh.
You're okay.
He's still so incredible.
Yeah. Well, so are you.
Thank you.
Yeah. You really are.
Thank you.
And I want people to get to know you. And so, how do people? How would they find your blog? How do they get there?
Joy cometh in the morning. mourning.com.
Great. Is that the best way for them to reach out to you? If they have a question as well, they can.
Yep. There's a contact
place on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, if there's anyone listening to this story right now, which we just talked about, there are, who might be struggling. What's some advice that you could maybe give them if they're they're feeling depressed or down, or what's some advice or some encouraging words that you could maybe share with them right now?
First of all, find a friend you trust, a friend you really trust, that you know it's not going to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we tell people, and then if it goes other places, it's not helpful.
Yeah.
And then second, that front end loader, those ice cream scoops. Honestly, when people come to me and I tell them that, they expect it to go away immediately. I have a close friend that has been working on this for a year, and it's nearly daily that I have to remind her of this. But it's because this friend wants immediate. It was nearly 10 years before I was stable, and I wish that I had discovered the ice cream scoop theory years before. And, they're just coming out with this studies on neuroplasticity, and that's where your brain can really repair itself.
Yeah.
And I am a true believer of that.
Sure. Well, you're proof of that.
Exactly.
And one thing I want to point out too, Carrie, is that you're using a technique that most Olympic, if not all Olympic athlete uses, visualizing and the power of visualizing.
Yeah.
And you just visualizing these ice cream scoops or a front end loader taking away these negative thoughts and scooping them out and paving a new neural pathway that's positive and strong. Yeah. Just visualizing that. Yeah. There's power behind that. And studies have shown that and proven that actually works.
Yeah.
And so it's so cool that you do that.
Thank you. My daughter, she also has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Mm-hmm. This whole, there's always a trigger that sets people with bipolar disorder kind of have this life cycle trigger that. Anyway, so the accident was definitely hers.
Sure.
And so the first time I went with her to the psychiatrist, she's like, is there anyone else in the family that's, that's been diagnosed? And I said, me, but I don't. She said, well, what medications do you take? And I said, I don't take them anymore. So she looks at me like, that is not a good example.
Yeah, you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, how do you expect your daughter? And I said,
Yeah.
well, I'm not bipolar anymore. My doctor, took that off my record, and she's just like,
almost like that's unheard of.
Yes,
right?
And she just said, she said something very snooty.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't happen, and just kind of pretty much called me out, like, and I just wanted to say, and I told her what I did, and she said something like, well, whatever, like, that will never happen, and I just wanted to say, well, that's because you won't have a job.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and what's funny is not when she says it will never happen, you're like going, well, here I am sitting here.
Yes.
It happened.
Yes, and
right?
I was quiet.
Yeah.
I just smiled at her.
Yeah.
But that's what I thought was like,
Yeah.
it just makes you worried because you won't have a job.
Sure.
So, but I just was like, well,
Yeah.
you work on my daughter and I'll work on my daughter. So
Yeah.
I'm, just know that, to the listeners, just know it's possible.
Yeah.
And there's TED Talks on neuroplasticity, and yep, it's your living proof as well.
Yeah.
That,
thank you.
and there's higher powers that can help you as well.
For sure.
So.
Yeah. Very well said. Very well said. Well, Carrie, I can't thank you enough for being here. This went so fast. I'm just sitting here like, whoa, this is amazing. Thank you for being vulnerable and willing to come share your story today.
Thank you.
Getting here early, like we said. Thank you so much. And it's truly our honor to hear your story and to see and witness your example. And I really believe this is going to help a lot of people hearing your story. So thank you for taking the time.
Can I share one more thought?
Sure.
So this is by T.D. Jakes. It says, if you decide that your trial is a funeral, then it will bury you. If you see it as an opportunity, then it will resurrect you.
Whoa. Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm glad you shared that. That's powerful. What a great way to end it. There you go, listeners. Thank you once again for joining us. I love all of you. Thanks for believing in me. And as you know, these guests are amazing. And so thank you for all the suggestions and everything. So to all of you, thank you. And until next time.